Hoaxtead Karen Irving Shell Company, criminal money laundering scandal, and links to Tavistock. In this post, I'm going to walk you through the basics behind a giant money laundering shell company scandal in the UK. I will show you how Karen Irving, who is the author of the Hoaxtead blog and is responsible for covering up pedophile rings in the UK, owns several shell companies that are part of this scandal. Before we begin, I would like to direct you to the main blog, where I have posted most of my information. I have been targeted by the Hoaxtead blog and Karen Irving and have collected 3 years of screenshots and evidence and have published all of it on this blog. Links to updated PDFs of many of the documents I will cover in this video are also located on the blog for you to download and read through on your own. I'd also like to add a note about projection. You see, the way these people work is that they accuse their victims of doing the very thing that they themselves are guilty of. For 3 years, Karen and her paid Hoaxtead trolling operation have called honest, hard-working people like me and others scammers. After you've viewed through the information that I'm about to uncover in this video, you can imagine how vindicating it must feel to discover that it was Karen herself who is guilty of taking part of one of the biggest scamming scandals in UK history. So let's begin. I'm going to be reading some excerpts from this particular blog post titled Russian Dolls, the Biggest Scandal Never Reported. I'll leave the link in the blog post so that you can read the entire article. I really strongly suggest that you do read it. It's very well written and it really brings a lot of things together. I'll start it kind of halfway in. Just off the Finchley Road is the even sleepier Woodbury Grove, a cul-de-sac that hosts a curious secret. A business premises that has been used to register tens of thousands of shell companies. Many of these companies are perfectly legitimate, others have been used to conceal the beneficial ownership of wealth for a plethora of reasons, including criminal money laundering, serious fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, and political corruption. A company's formation cottage industry has operated out of 2 Woodbury Grove, an unassuming 2-story office block that looks onto a home-based store yard for almost 2 decades. For most of this period, the property was the registered correspondence address of Mrs. Barbara Cahan, an octogenarian responsible for incorporating over 25,000 companies. Now we're going to go have a look at the Company House website. What Company House does, this is the UK's public register for companies. We incorporate and dissolve limited companies, we register company information and make it available to the public. You can sign up to the site on your own so that you can search. It's free and quick to do. When you type in Barbara Cahan's name, you will see more than 25,000 companies that were all formed in her name, and most of which have the address 2 Woodbury Grove in North Finchley. Okay, here we are in the registry, Barbara Cahan's name, and look at all of these companies registered under her name. 2 Woodbury Grove, North Finchley. 2 Woodbury Grove, North Finchley. Okay? There's pages and pages and pages. 25,196 matches found, all under the name Barbara Cahan. That alone should really raise some flags. One person has over 25,000 companies, and they're all right here. This is 2 Woodbury Grove. Does it look like it could fit 25,000 companies inside of it? The story behind 2 Woodbury Grove must be painstakingly pieced together through a careful examination of the paper trail left behind on Companies House, the United Kingdom's public register of companies. It is first necessary to determine an outer shell, our first Russian doll, that serves as a linchpin holding tight the Gordian knot of subterfuge. When entered into an internet search, 2 Woodbury Grove, direct hits to a company called A1 Company Services, registered by Mrs. Barbara Cahan in April of 2003. This company, and this is the website here, was officially dissolved in January of 2017, though it still maintains an active website and domain name, moored to an affiliate company, A1 is not just a faceless, web-based company, readers are informed. The UK's largest incorporation agent promises registered office and service address facilities to protect your privacy, as well as secretarial service to assist in complex transactions or to help to comply with your legal requirements. When you open up the prized Russian doll of A1 Company Services, you discover that there's another company concealed inside of it. Company formation agents are often at pains to ensure that their own corporate structures are cloaked in secrecy. This confuses the audit trail, making it harder for financial authorities to track associated shell companies and their beneficial owners. A1 Company Services was initially registered to offices at 788 and 790 Finchley Road. Incorporation documents reveal that 788 and 790 Finchley Road was, in 2003, the registered premises of the long-term acting company secretary for A1 Company Services, Temple Secretaries Limited. Barbara and Keith Cahan were listed as company directors. Until its recent acquisition, the entire share capital of A1 Company Services was held by an offshore entity called Tripodia Limited, registered to a P.O. box at the address of the Trident Trust Company in the Virgin Islands. The Winnington Trust was named as the ultimate controlling party. This was registered in Liechtenstein, a country that infamously has more registered companies than citizens. Under the laws of the principality, legal rights are held by trustees rather than beneficiaries. Now, before we go any further with our paper trail, let me take a moment to highlight just a few of the scandals that have been traced back to these shell companies at Finchley Road. When you look at all of these shell companies, you will find that there are 69,000 companies registered at 788-790 Finchley Road. This makes the scale of the North Finchley company formation industry truly unprecedented. And this is a picture of 788-790 Finchley Road. Does it look like there's 69,000 companies inside of this storefront right here? It is no secret that London has served as a global capital for criminal money laundering for many decades now. UK authorities turn a blind eye. Light touch regulation has long made Britain a haven for dirty money. Shell companies alone have been implicated in an estimated £80 billion of money laundering. In April of last year, the Scottish Herald reported the arrest of Alexei Anakin, a Russian national and nephew of Russia's Deputy Minister of Defense, Tatiana Shchetsova. 8 defendants, including Anakin, were found guilty of involvement in an organized crime syndicate that defrauded HMRC to the tune of ₹1 billion. A Russian company in which Anakin held shares falsely claimed to be exporting non-ferrous metals to shell companies in the UK, illegally claiming VAT back on the products. The elaborate fraud threw fresh light on the use of Scottish limited partnerships and legal personality loopholes to launder illicit cash in Britain. Yet another curious detail went entirely unremarked upon. One transaction fabricated by the Russian fraudsters falsely recorded $10 million worth of copper powder as having been exported to a shell company called Hill Gold Properties, incorporated by Barbara Cahan and A1 Company Services in 2010. North Finchley's company formation agents have long been responsible for exporting criminal corruption, whether knowingly or unknowingly, out of the sleepy suburb by providing countless shell companies which fraudsters have used for their own ends. Intricate connections can be drawn between North Finchley's corporate service providers, the shell companies they offer, and the activities of international organized crime syndicates. Now, if you read through the rest of this article, you will find huge scandal after huge scandal, and how they're all somehow linked back to 788-79 Finchley Road. And here's something else to consider. Shell companies are not only used by foreign criminals to siphon wealth from poor and developing countries, they also enable tens of millions of pounds worth of tax revenue to leave the UK. Some of these funds are even used to prop up authoritarian regimes abroad. BGR Gabara is a company that was provided by A1 Company Services Limited of 2 Woodbury Grove, North Finchley. A concern for public relations supplants commitment to public service, spin, and disinformation replace truth, and political principles are cast aside in favor of cold, hard cash. BGR Gabara has long been active in this murky world of reputation laundering. The firm scours every corner of the globe for paying customers, no questions asked. Former clients of GBR Gabara have also included the governments of Bangladesh, Mauritius, and Moldova, Action Congress of Nigeria, the National Liberty Party of Romania, and the energy giants ExxonMobil and Statoil. And here's an interesting article. PR firms make London world capital of reputation laundering. Now I bring this up because of the Hoaxtead operation, which is run by Karen Irving and her husband Mitchell Beer's company SmarterShift.com. The website Hoaxtead Research was set up as a form of reputation laundering to cover up the crime of satanic ritual abuse and pedophile rings in the UK. In a previous video, I walked through Karen's other website, SmarterShift.com, which is an online marketing company that offers services to run blogs and fill them with content and comments. I would like to add another layer of evidence here to show the connection via email address screenshots obtained from Karen's accounts. This clearly shows that it is Smarter Shift that started the Hoaxtead blog. Karen has her Smarter Shift address as her recovery email for the Hoaxtead blog email address. Hampstead Hoax Investigators at yahoo.co.uk. Recover your account by sending an email to k@smartershift.com. In another video, I show you Karen's background as a child sex psychotherapist who has been involved in covering up abuse in Canada and also with the Holly Gregg case. Now before I walk you through the document, I want to give you a little bit of background behind Barbara Cahan so you can see why this is relevant to the bigger operation. It's Barbara Cahan whose name is on 25,000 shell companies, one of which also has Karen Irving's name on it. Now here's Barbara Cahan. This is a blog that is showing her in a favorable light. It's called bitsofbookblog.wordpress.com, and I pulled this up because it actually has some pictures of Karen. She's known as a champion for children. Here's her chronology, and here's where her obituary reads: tributes have been paid to a child care pioneer who has died at the age of 80. Barbara Cahan, the former Oxfordshire children's officer, was described as always on the side of the children. Her love for children helped shape the role of social services nationwide. Barbara Cahan married Vladimir Cahan, which is a child psychotherapist who also works for Tavistock. You can see here is one of his books that he wrote, published in 1971 in London by Tavistock. Again, if you don't know about the true history behind Tavistock and how it's where mind control originates from, and it's all kinds of psyop games that comes through that, along with child abuse and shaping governments and all sorts of things, I definitely suggest that you check out this book, The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. It's written by John D. Coleman. You can see it here online for free at archive.org/details-tavistock-201601. Now let's get back to Barbara. There's another version of her story that I found eerily similar to Karen Irving's background. So I'm going to be reading some excerpts from this blog here, doctorsallybaker.com. This is a blog post titled, Always on the Side of the Children. When Cahan first began her career, most child care officers were women, often women like her, i.e. well-educated women from middle-class backgrounds, frequently with a touch of radicalism. A lot of those women will have been very genuine. However, by the late 60s and 70s, when the very real problem of residential homes for children being literally infiltrated by pedophile gangs began to grow, women served a very useful purpose. Exactly the same purpose that women serviced in abusive institutions like the North Wales Hospital, Denbigh. They were there to reassure the public that nothing dreadful could be going on, certainly not sexual abuse, because women are caring and they would never collude with such activity. Sadly, they did, and they did so regularly. Barbara Cahan will have known that the abuse of children in residential care was endemic. In her obituary, we are told that she believed in residential care long after this approach had gone out of fashion. Residential care went out of fashion because it was realized that the system was brutal and attracted predators. Whilst Cahan worked in Oxfordshire, she introduced the payment of a special enhanced rate to people who fostered difficult children. In North Wales and other regions, there is evidence that this policy resulted in callous, inappropriate people fostering numerous children because it was very profitable. Foster carers should be paid enough because it is a valuable and difficult job, but it is essential that they should be approximately vetted. Paying sexually abusive thugs a lot of money to foster 5 or 6 children is not a particularly good idea. I don't think that there was any danger of Barbara blowing any whistles at all, and she obviously didn't blow any when she reached the dizzy heights either. She remained as assistant director until 1980, by which time children were being trafficked to Europe by the pedophiles, quote-unquote, looking after them, and in North Wales and elsewhere were being found dead. By 1980, there had been a number of convictions of child care workers for physical assault and various sex offenses in North Wales, as well as in other regions in the country. In 1955, Babs married a top doctor herself, Dr. Vladimir Cahan, a child psychiatrist based in Oxford. Babs assisted Vlad with the work for his book Mental Illness in Childhood, published by Tavistock Publications. The quote-unquote research for the book was conducted between 1959 and 65 at West Stonewall House, a unit for psychotic and severely disturbed children. Managed by Babs and funded by Oxford Regional Hospital Board. Of course, at that time, one group of children who were routinely labeled as severely disturbed were those children who were known to be participating in sexual activity, even if they had clearly stated that they had been coerced into that activity. Vlad died in 1981. This blog tells a deeper story of pedophilia and abuse, all under the cover of Barbara Cahan. The part about the payment systems and the residential nature of the facilities and the missing children mentioned all reeks of child sex trafficking. Now we fast forward to today, and Barbara Cahan's name is on 25,000 shell companies? And oh yeah, a lot of those companies were made in her name well after she died, forged by her son, Keith Cahan. Okay, so now that I've laid out the groundwork, let's take a look at Karen Irving's shell company that's linked to Barbara Cahan and the Finchley scandal. Alright, this is Shell Company, KAI and Associates Limited, company number 7541279. We've got this from the company's house website. Company name. Keep scrolling down. And the company has one director, Miss Karen Irving, right there. She has one share in the company. And here's the interesting part, coming down towards the bottom. This company was set up by A1 Company Services Limited, located on 788-79 Finchley Road. So really, Karen, is that where you have your company? Right there? Where everybody else has theirs? All 69,000 of them? Now this document will be uploaded to the blog, so you can download it yourself and look through the whole thing and read through all the incorporation articles of the company. I'll just keep scrolling through, give you kind of a glimpse. It talks about the association. It's pretty hollow. Doesn't really say anything too specific. There's only one owner. Now, it was listed on the company's house website for quite some time. But what's even more interesting is that soon after these documents were found on the Companies House website, Karen was notified by someone who was monitoring her that she had been found connected to the Finchley Shell Company scandal through this company. And Karen then had the company removed from the Companies House to try to cover her tracks. So here is the link now that states that the company, KAI and Associates Limited, owned by Karen Irving, connecting her to Finchley Road, it no longer exists on the Companies House website. However, here's proof that it did at one point in time exist on the company's website. This is the Companies House website under her name, Karen Irving. This is the first window. Number of appointments, here it is under her name, KAI and Associates. If you go on to this tab here, it will open up some of the different documents that you can go and look at the PDFs of the documents of the company. And it also shows the agent, A1 Company Services Limited, Finchley Road, right there. And just to be thorough, here is another shot from another website, UnitedKingdomBusiness.co.uk, that proves that KAI and Associates, the one with the address, Sutton Hall Road 7 in Middlesex, London, did in fact exist at one point, and it was taken off of the Companies House record as soon as Karen found out that she was exposed. So once again, let's take a look at the paperwork from the Companies House website for A1 Company Services. This is the company, the outer shell of the Russian doll company, of the shell companies. This is the one that inside of this company are 69,000 companies, and 25,000 of them are under Barbara Cahan. Well, anyway, you see how complex it is, and that's done by design because they want to have so many different companies inside of other companies, so it's really hard for an audit trail. But we just saw on Karen Irving's paperwork for her company that it was started and run by this company, A1 Company Services Limited. And here she is, Barbara Cahan. Her name's on this company. Temple Secretaries Limited is also related to this company, another Barbara Cahan. Let's open up the incorporation documents so you can see the names on the paperwork. Okay, this is the A1 Company Service Limited, company number 4727888. Again, the company that is the parent company for Karen Irving. Barbara Cahan, her name's on this company. So there's your link right there, Karen Irving. What is your name doing on a company that is owned by Barbara Cahan, that is involved with the biggest financial shell company scandal in all of UK history? Why is that, Karen? Why is that? Here it is, A1 Company Services Limited, 788-790 Finchley Road. Again, you can scroll through on your own. Read the Memorandum of Association. I'm going to go to the bottom where the signatures are. And you'll see Keith Cahan, that's Barbara Cahan's son, who opened up thousands and thousands of shell companies in his mother's name after his mother's death. So there you have it. I hope that was helpful. I hope that made you think. I've been trying to tell people for a while now that Hoaxtead is a paid, well-funded operation. How much money was run through these shell companies in order to finance the operation, we'll never truly know. But I can tell you that it did take an awful lot of resources to run the Hoaxtead blog, and its hundreds and hundreds of sock puppet accounts and the different videos and all of that manual labor for all of the different online trolls. There was definitely funding going on there. Obviously that funding has been cut off in some way, and that is probably adds to the reason why the blog has just been shut down, which is fantastic news, and I hope that was helpful. Leave any comments if you want, and please do share this video to help explain some of these connections.